Hi everyone. So we got a review. It's about this little thing right here. So this is the new and improved earbuds by Sony. They are the active noise canceling. This is the previous version that they had. I will say this about the previous version. It's nice. Very nice. They made improvements to this thing. Cool, huh? So we're just going to talk about pretty much the goods and the bad of this thing. I've had this thing for just about a month and a half. And I know I said this probably, I would keep this until it dies, and the truth is I do. There's goods and bads that come with this. This, actually, I've been testing it mainly because I had the opportunity to test it. It is mine, yes. Ultimately, no, nobody's paying me to do any of this stuff. Yeah, a channel like this, like anybody's gonna pay me or sponsor this type of channel. So don't even worry about ever wondering if I'm ever gonna get sponsorship or not. So this is the big humongous long name XM4. Naming scheme sucks. That's just Sony. We'll just deal with it because nothing ever makes sense. So the good thing and the bad is, yeah, it is much easier, a whole lot easier to put in your pocket. I will say that about this thing. I've been testing out mainly the battery life on this for the last month or so, and I will admit that based upon all the testing that I've done with this, with active noise canceling, this thing does last more than 4 or 5. I've got about maybe 5.5, almost 6 hours with active noise canceling. Of course, I have the wind filter on most of the time as well too. I will say that there are goods and bads with this new headset. And some of the things that existed in this headset, they don't have in this headset, which makes no sense. Better technology, supposedly. I always think this is the weirdest thing that most companies do, and they always say, hey, this is the best one we've ever made. And once again, if it's worse, then why would I buy it? It's a newer product. It's supposed to be better. So don't say, hey, this is the best one you ever made. This is our newer product. It's supposed to be better. If it wasn't better, then okay, say, hey, this is actually worse than our last year's or our last model. But that doesn't sell. That would be stupid to say. So the good and the bad. First off, it is smaller, it is lighter, it is easier to manage overall. Not only just the packaging, but the earbuds itself. It comes in a very, very much more environmentally friendly packaging. It doesn't come with a whole lot. And I will say this. So I tested a couple of things to figure out exactly what was the good side and the bad side with this. So if you want the specs on this and all that, you can always search on Google or go on another YouTube or whatever it is and see a professional review. This is kind of like one of these reviews or so that I do. First off, small package, USB-C charging. The wireless charging on this is good. I like the way it does the wireless charging. It senses really well. The charge rate, actually, for a wireless headset with the quality it is, has a pretty good wireless charging system in it as well too. Do I consider that a priority? Not really, because most of the time I'll say this is I keep it in my bag or in my car, which my car doesn't have a wireless charging system, and that doesn't make a whole lot of sense in a car to have a wireless charging system for something this small. It has to be set up on this, and ultimately if you're in a car, bumps, bruises, it's not going to stay put. So it's not my recommendation to use wireless charging in a car for this thing. So USB charging works absolutely fine. It's fast. It's easy to use overall. The lighting structure on this is now a much nicer green color, and it's softer. It's not as bright, but it's bright enough for you to be able to see, but it's not glaring. So very softer tones. The material on this, it feels a lot softer to touch as well too, and it has a better overall grip. So compared to this one right here, no, neither one of them is going to drop. But having a better fit means it stays in your hand. It doesn't make you feel like it's going to hurt or sweaty. This thing, the edges are a lot softer. This thing has sharp edges in a sense. no, you're not going to get hurt with them, but the fact is, it's much, much easier to handle. Very, very good magnetic closing systems or so. And also with the earbuds itself, the magnets actually hold the earbuds in place really, really well. When it comes to Bluetooth connectivity, really, really good on the Bluetooth connectivity. It's pretty fast overall. The software on Android needs to be improved. And the reason why I say that is even with the software active, the notifications or so, it's way too delayed. The delay on it is just too slow. So it needs better software optimization on the app end of it as well too. These features are so compared to the old ones. I will say this as well: the earbuds. These earbuds now they use a newer type of earbuds, and they work. I will say this, that they work a whole lot better, and they might also be the reason why the noise cancellation on this headset has the phenomenal noise isolation that it does compared to even the old ones. If you listen to them, you can see a major difference in the technology itself. So the biggest thing was, hey, let's find out for sure if there really is a difference between this headset and that headset when it comes to noise cancellation. So what did I do? I took the earbuds off of this and put it on here and tested it. It actually improves the noise cancellation even in these right here. It improves it extremely, extremely well. But is it as good as the technology that is in these headsets? No, it's not. Would you notice the difference when it comes to listening to music? Noise cancellation wise, probably not. When it comes to the way this handles noise cancellation from the DSP side of it, yes, you will notice the difference. Why? Because this thing actually has some really good properties when it comes to microphone sensitivity. Even when it comes to making a phone call, it's a whole lot better because people can actually hear you a lot better. It can isolate your voice a lot better thanks to its bone conduction technology that they have in here as well too. So it is able to separate your voice versus the external world a whole lot better. I actually tested this with a friend of mine, and they said there was a major difference in what they were able to hear when it comes to moderately noisy environments. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to test it in a quiet environment, because if you're in a quiet environment, they're going to be able to hear you absolutely fine. I haven't had the opportunity to test it in a really, really high noise environment, but noise cancellation wise, that's the whole point of it. Is not necessarily that it's going to get rid of all of the noise, but it's going to dampen that noise quite a bit. And truthfully, even in your normal situation, it does quite well. The sensing on it when it comes to your activity is a lot better than the old headsets, and that is a major plus as well too. So if you have the apps new for this on the app, it kind of has this option for you to, hey, decide profiles based upon what you're doing. Well, did it do that on this? Yes, but not as well. This one actually senses a whole lot better, and it can change those profiles from noise cancellation to ambient sound to cutting it off or so based upon what you want. It learns, the app learns as well too based upon location, and you can set those a lot easier than you can with your old headsets. So those are very nice positives. The battery life on these is a whole lot better. I do appreciate the fact that there are no more LED or lights on these devices. So if I'm in a dark environment, this thing doesn't shine till the dickens or so, and that green light or so doesn't stay on forever either. So there's a benefit to being in the dark, and you don't have to worry about this thing shining brightly in your eyes or shining the whole room blue or whatever it is, or red, like these things do. So that's another benefit to it. There's one particular thing that I don't like about this headset that I wish they would put back, and I don't know if they can or not, is the fact that the XM3s, they had the ability to separately pair each headset to a device. So whenever I took out the left earpiece, it could connect to the Bluetooth and work as a single earpiece. Or if I just chose to take the right one and use that, it could do the same thing. This, on the other hand, cannot do that. So if you take the left earpiece out and try to use that individually, you can't. If you take the right earpiece out and want to use it individually, you can. So what's the problem with that? The problem is it's mitigated by how long the battery lasts in this system, but it's not really a benefit if your ear on your right side gets tired and you just want to switch it out to your left side. And I know these things are wants, and as I have mentioned before, when it comes to a $300 headset, this is a want and not a need. So cater to privilege. People don't buy this unless they're either trying to show off or they have the money or the financial capacities to support this kind of headset with a phone that can support this headset well. You get this and you get a crappy phone, it's not going to do any good for you. When you're listening to this headset versus the old ones, I will say the lower frequencies, they have done a very, very good job. Sony has done a very good job of managing the lower frequencies compared to their XM3s. Amazing results or so with that. Midtones or so, once again, equalizer function works absolutely fine. Everybody likes their preferences, but at least with bass tones, you have so much more, you have such a better dynamic capacity to change it and make it fit your profile, to fit what you like with your music. So that is also a benefit as well too. The surface area when it comes to utilizing it to tap, the tap functions or so, very, very responsive. Actually, a lot better responsiveness compared to the old systems. So that is a nicety when it comes to it. Most of the other functions, realistically, people don't utilize a whole lot. 360 audio, stuff like that, only works well when it comes to really high-res audio. I know people were mentioning the fact that, in LDAC, you had a limited volume capacity versus the AC3 or the aptics coding. I don't think this thing can handle aptics or so, but one of the LDAC versus the other major codec that this thing handles. I've noticed that once you get above 65-70% on the volume or try to increase it past that, it doesn't really do a whole lot. I do see the increase in volume, but not really as much. That is some kind of thing with the LDAC, I guess, or the way they programmed it. I think the other side of looking at it as well too is Sony might think that, hey, we should set a limit to how high the sound should go on these, because once you get past a certain volume, amplitude, that the sound quality is going to degrade. Well, I look at it from this way. Let us decide on that. Some people are more hard of hearing than others. That's the problem with listening to loud music, so they might need it higher. So Sony, be good about what you do. You're one of the best companies when it comes to building technologies like this. Figure it out. You guys are smart. That's not an excuse, especially if you're going to cater to people who are willing to buy $300 headsets all the time. Is this an incremental update compared to the previous? I will say that based upon everything, it is. Is it life-changing compared to their previous one? No. If you could just buy the foam tips or so on these headsets and put it on your old headset, realistically, if you're just listening to music, it works just as fine. If you make a lot of phone calls and you want to use one of these products, use the newer product because people will actually hear you better. Does the battery work a lot better? Absolutely. Like I said, if you don't have a bright LED shining every now and then, you save electricity, you save power. It's a good idea. I think originally when they made this, they were looking at longevity. Is this thing durable? The old one is actually pretty durable. I don't know how durable this is because I've only been able to test it for about a month. I've dropped it about 2 or 3 times. The earbuds have never fallen out. The electronics still seem to work. The battery life on it seems like it hasn't changed. Do I like this compared to the old ones? I will say this. Under most use case scenarios, this headset works better. One of the key things that I use my Sony headsets for is for the gym. I like active noise canceling, especially when I'm at the gym or so, because I don't want to hear whatever is around me. I want to be able to focus and just listen to my music and do a good run or whatever it is. These things fit in your ear very well overall. I have not tried the small and the large ear tips or so because I'm a medium ear tip and it fits absolutely fine. It's not too much pressure on my ears. It doesn't make my ears tired or sore or anything like that. So it's almost a perfect fit for my ear. Part of it is more cushion, kind of like a comply earbud, which I will say that I have not tried comply earbuds on these headsets yet because it hasn't been a necessity. I more than likely, once these earbuds go bad or the ear tips go bad, I will probably see about reordering Sony's ear tips just because it works pretty darn well, and part of the noise cancellation is through those ear tips. I don't know if comply is going to beat that. I used comply on here, and when I switch the tips or so from here to here, there's a noticeable difference just with the ear tips alone. So part of the technology was the ear tips itself. So I would probably stick with using the Sony ear tips if you want the best result because it's proven. Are there other ear tips that will do better when it comes to sound dampening? Absolutely. The problem is they might hurt your ear. And that's the key thing, is they tend to be something that makes it more uncomfortable. Sony's gotten it right with trying to figure out comfort. Great. Some of the technologies in here, like I said, the key technology that they did not implement with this new set is mainly being able to have dual connections, otherwise dual Bluetooth connections for you. So it's just kind of like, yeah, I can't use the left one individually. Is that a deal breaker? No, not really a deal breaker. Am I comparing this to any of the other headsets? No, because that's not really a fair comparison. Each one was designed differently. They're all for the same type of market. It's kind of like the AirPods or whatever it is. You buy an AirPod because you have an iPhone. You buy the Sennheiser because you have been part of that system for a long time, or you buy Samsung because you're part of the Samsung's ecosystem and you like the way it works. Realistically, all of these competitors, are they good? Yeah, they're good. And part of the bias is, does that make one better than the other? Part of it is bias. I'm not saying this is the best, but compared to their old one, it's better. Incremental upgrade, yes. Is it a significant change in technology, or is it something that's revolutionary? No, it's not. It doesn't qualify to be that. If it wanted to be revolutionary, then it probably should have made this thing about 30% smaller than this. Have battery life or so that's going to hit the 8 to 10 hour mark, so it will last all day long. Slightly better when it comes to wind reduction or so. It does have wind noise reduction or so, so it does good with that. Doesn't get rid of all of it, but it does reduce it quite a bit. So I'll give them credit for trying to figure that out. Hopefully their next iteration will improve the wind noise reduction. What would get me to switch from this to their next iteration? Like I said, first off, battery power would be important. Weight of this, decrease it by about 30-40% in weight. That would be awesome. Better isolation as well too, and that's a key thing. Is this thing almost has it? We got a volume problem with this thing where, yes, I'm going to say this, LDAC and high res, I'm going to use them. Why? Because that's the point of having this. So if you're not using high res, or you're not using the LDAC system on here, which actually has pretty good audio quality from most streaming services as well too, how it samples it up. That's the whole point of having a high dollar item. If you're not looking at, if you can do away with high res and you could care less what codec it uses, there are $40 headsets that can do pretty decently when it comes to all these technologies in one. It's like, why pay $300? Well, it's not about the Sony name. It has some of the things that you just don't really have with a $40 headset, and that is those other qualities that make listening to music more engaging. That's the benefit of having these products. Of course, that's the benefit of also being able to afford these products as well too. So those come to the fact of what type of consumer is going to utilize this product. So that is kind of like my 1 month review of the Sony XM4s, 1000XM4s. I would recommend that you all look into probably trying out their previous version before looking at buying this version. Because if you really need something small and compact to fit in your pocket, because you got skinny jeans, okay, go for this, I get it. But if you got a purse and you can't tell the difference between the noise cancellation and you're not going to really talk on the phone, get this. That, to me, it makes more sense. Just buy a really good earbud or so. So these things you can get for probably less than $200 right now. Spend $10 on an ear tip or so that works well for you, and you're good to go. Versus $300 on something that's brand new. And if it's just a new toy you're wanting, well, just make sure you have a good phone that handles it as well too, because really the upgrade in Bluetooth technology has allowed the sound field to be better, because the data stream is so much better. It can handle a higher data stream, which means it can handle higher quality music as well too. Outside of that, that's really it. Thank you.